Why would God make it so hard to create all these doubt with so many different religions, so many different people?
Yeah, but Jan,
Jan, can I just say something quickly, Shiv? I'm going to go quickly pray. Jan, be honest with us. We're all lads here. What was the name? Come on, tell us.
Honestly, Jan, I just find this a really rubbish argument. I think divine hiddenness is like one of the worst arguments. If God exists, then He would have shown us in the sky.
Did you leave Islam because of divine hiddenness?
No.
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 Right. Why did you leave Islam?
My first concept why I left Islam, and that's an emotional appeal, definitely, and that's I just don't believe. I felt at a certain point that if God created, he's all loving, and He created heaven and hell, and actually we are brought into a system where we make mistakes, and I need to go for hell because He made me that way. Of performing these actions. So why would I go to hell? So I came here not to win or to.
But all your arguments have been refuted, so you've got no more excuses.
Yeah.
So what are you waiting for?
Submit. Come back into the fold of Islam.
Well, I was 24 years. I was a Muslim, and decided to become an agnostic. Well, I can start presenting my argument, which I presented earlier. I would like to present the argument of divine hiddenness.
Don't.
No, don't.
It's stupid.
Why do you think?
We already discussed. You already agreed that just because you can't see God doesn't mean God doesn't exist. So why would you bring it again?
Well, I think you brought a good point, and but I wasn't convinced about the effectiveness of, let's say, the proof that God could bring. So I would like to argue it a little bit more, if you.
Before you do, so you're 24 years old, yeah?
No, I'm not. I'm 33 years old.
So you left Islam at what age?
When I was 24.
Okay, but you grew up as a Muslim, yeah?
I grew up as a Muslim.
Okay, and what was the intellectual justification that caused you to leave Islam?
There are multiple reasons. It's not one.
Give me a best reason.
I would say the system that God created. He created a world for us, wherein people go to heaven and hell.
I said intellectual justification, not your emotional justification. Intellectual.
Yeah, that's true. But it's let's say emotional argument be.
No, but you have an intellectual reason to leave Islam other than this emotional.
No,
one.
there are multiple reasons. I can bring. I think there's no evidence for God. This is
Do you have one intellectual justification that you left Islam because of?
Well, I'm explaining that there are multiple reasons, and one of them is a problem of evil.
That's emotional.
That's also an emotional one, but for me, it's like
I want intellectual. I want reasonable. I want rational. I want logical.
Well, I think the divine hiddenness is a rational argument.
But not really. If your eyes are not capable of seeing God, how is that rational?
If my eyes
I'll let the boys do it. I'll let the boys. Go on, you present your.
Sorry,
I'm going to call it nonsense. It is, but present it and let the boys deal with it.
I have to leave, inshallah. So thanks for having me, Brother Hamza. And,
what's that?
I have to leave, inshallah. Thanks for having me, Brother Hamza, and all
Always
the
a
brothers.
pleasure, Brother Khalil. I know you could only do 2 hours.
Nice to meet you, brother. Nice to meet you.
Shadid came back just in time, mashallah. All right, assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
We've just leveled up Khalil. Welcome back, Shadid.
I think, Jan, did he come on to your... did you go into the warm-up?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I thought somebody said in the comments you went on the warm-up. Yeah, so
He's a nice guy, like I said, but he's completely and utterly confused.
Okay,
And
let me try to present the argument. Let me try to present the argument. Maybe
okay.
It's,
I basically said stop whinging.
Yeah. So if God is all loving and all powerful, why hasn't he shown himself to the world? If he's all loving, why would he leave any room for doubt? So he's all powerful. Why not reveal himself in the most, let's say, spectacular way that would make unbelief impossible? So why does God leave the room for this doubt? And there are so many simple ways to present himself. As I said, I made it. I just used a simple example as he could appear in the sky and talk to all the people and make an undisputable fact and an historic fact of that he exists. So why does he create this room for doubt and with the result of getting people to hell?
Is that the argument?
Yeah.
And is that what convinced you to leave Islam?
No, not only. It's not the only thing, but it was for me what I find. So I can get around with the cosmological argument, and I would say I would believe in there could be a God, but why would God make it so hard to create all these doubt with so many different religions, so many different people?
Yeah, but Jan, okay, yeah.
Jan, can I just say something quickly, Shiv? I'm going to go quickly pray. Yeah. Jan, be honest with us. We're all lads here. What was her name? Come on, tell us. All right, I'm going to pray her.
Sorry?
What was her name?
Oh, her name. Oh, right. No. There is no name. There is no name. I was at a certain.
It's not a he, is it?
No, it's not a he. It's not a he.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Sorry. You see that you accept that this is not an argument against the existence of a God. You do understand that.
No, exactly. No, it's not. So it's not. I'm not disproving that God doesn't exist with this.
Okay, so do you believe there is a God?
I could believe there is a God. So I wouldn't. I say that answer is still open. If he would appear or.
So this isn't a reason for not believing in a God.
So this is not a reason for not believing in a God.
So how come you bring that to the table then?
Because I find it the proof that is presented by God, not proof, not, let's say, undisputable proof. It's the proof that let's
test your knowledge of Islam. Seem as though you're an ex-Muslim. How would Islam answer you?
How would Islam answer is through
you used to be a Muslim, so how would a Muslim answer this question?
The Quran, for example, the Quran is one of the, let's say, miracles of the Quran of Islam.
Okay. So that
and I find beauty in the Quran. I can still.
No. You misunderstand it. What I'm saying is, you used to be a Muslim. You was a Muslim until 24 years old. So you presented your argument, and then I'm just interested to know how you would think a Muslim would answer this question. Because if you had knowledge of Islam, surely then you would know how a Muslim would answer this question. So how would a Muslim answer this question? Just give us your understanding of how we should answer it as Muslims, because obviously you would know what a Muslim would say because you used to be one, right?
So are you doubting that I wasn't a Muslim?
No, I'm just saying that. I'm doubting that you had knowledge of Islam, because this particular understanding shows lack of knowledge of divine decree and lack of knowledge of purpose of life. And so how would you think a Muslim would answer this question?
Well, I would say there are multiple reasons. I think a Muslim would answer is, don't you see the proof? Look at the world, look at the sky, look at everything. Don't you see that God exists?
No,
right?
because it's not an argument against the existence of God. It's an argument against. It's an argument. Why does God allow evil to happen?
Yeah, true.
It's not an argument against the existence of God.
I don't know how I would answer then. I try to answer it. Maybe my knowledge on this level was lacking to answer this properly. How would you answer?
Sharif, did you want to come in?
Oh, I was going to ask you, Jan, how would you answer it now? What would your answer be now?
Me?
No. Sorry, not John. I mean Jan.
No.
Jan.
Yeah.
I'm thinking. You're putting me on the spot, and
See, I don't know if you ever come across Thought Adventure podcast.
Yeah,
that's like a show that. Yeah, so we had a whole show on divine hiddenness, and about this argument, I think it's Schellenberg's argument.
Yeah.
About divine hiddenness. So we've addressed this issue. So one of the things that you need to understand is that it's not even a logical argument against belief in a creator. It's not even a logical argument about belief in a particular type of creator, an all-loving creator. Yeah. So there's no logical necessity to this argument. You agree? It's what we call an evidentialist argument.
Yeah. I get your point, but I'm not completely following it philosophically.
So I'm just saying that it's not like a logical entailment that if you accept premise 1, premise 2, that results in a negation, or results in a conclusion. There's no logical entailment. Yeah, it's just that what they term is just an evidentialist argument. Yeah, so it's not even exactly. So exactly. So what an evidentialist argument in essence does is that it takes your prior commitments, what you think is true, and then it tries to appeal to those what you think is true in order to come to certain conclusions. So, for example, an all-loving God. Yeah. Well, okay. What do I understand by all-loving? These are my prior commitments. Then, wouldn't want human beings to be punished. Therefore, he would manifest himself if he really existed. Yeah. So all of these things are prior commitments that a person has to hold before he even makes the argument work. And even when he makes the argument work, it's not even a logical entailment to the premises of the conclusion. Yeah, it's just simply, like I said, it's just simply an appeal to particular preconceived notions about certain things. Honestly, Jan, I just find this a really rubbish argument. I think divine hiddenness is like one of the worst arguments. If God exists, then he would have shown us in the sky. And it's like, what do you mean? If God exists, if a necessary being exists, I would expect to see limited dependent things. Yeah, I see limited dependent things. That's why I think a necessary being exists. God exists. This is what I would expect. If I expected God to sit right next to me and I look to my right and I'd be like, well, that can't be God because that's a limited creature. Yeah, I'll dismiss it. Yeah, so I wouldn't accept that. If I wanted to believe in God, I'd believe in God because and believe in the truthfulness of Islam is because there's something that is beyond human and naturalistic productive capacity. That's why. And I'd say, oh yeah, look, this Quran claims to be this.
But isn't that easy? Isn't that easy to say? Because so what you're saying is that I cannot ask a question for a reasonable amount of evidence that the God that presented himself is the
Jan,
God.
what you're basically saying is that there's two things that a few things that you're probably saying. The first thing that you're saying is, if God exists, surely there should be evidences for God's existence. One, we have evidence for God's existence, and and also evidence for Islam, but God's existence. Secondly, then you say, oh well, but it should be a type of evidence that nobody can deny. Yeah, and we're like, well, it is a type of evidence that nobody rationally would deny, but some people do deny it because they might deny it for a number of reasons. Like, for example, I come across a lot of people that believe in the flat earth. Yeah. Now I'm thinking, well, it's reasonable to believe that it's as rational as it can be that the earth is round. Yeah. I don't know if you believe the earth is a sphere or if it's flat. I don't know, Jan. Do you believe it's a sphere? Or are you a flat earther yourself?
Absolutely not.
Okay,
I
so
find the analogy a little bit out of sync.
No, it's not, because the
but
point that I'm trying to say is this: is that I'm trying to say that what you think is absurd and what you think is the weight and the body of the evidences, which are so clear cut and categorical that lead you to a particular conclusion,
yeah.
Other people deny it. Now that doesn't change the truth of the matter of fact of what the shape of the earth is. It doesn't change the fact that some people are outliers in that particular position. So I'm saying, in the same way, just because some people disagree doesn't now suddenly weaken the argument. It doesn't mean that it weakens the evidences. It just means that people have different motivations of believing, and some people don't believe.
True.
Yeah, we know, for example, we believe that Iblis, Shaitan, he saw God, he knows God. Yeah, but yet he disbelieved in God, disbelieved in the fact that he didn't want to obey God's command. He thought he knew better. Yeah. So this idea that, well, really, all we need to do is God to appear in the heavens and that's it, everybody would be a believer. That doesn't even, it doesn't even rationally follow.
Especially John. Sorry, just to cut you, John. But especially, coming from, as you claim to be a Muslim before, right? So if you're coming from the Islamic paradigm of understanding that this life is a test and that there's consequences of that test, with this reward and punishment, that there's that the paradise is the reward, the ones that are truthful and obey and acknowledge the Creator, and the punishment being the hellfire. So it's more revolving around the issue that there is a punishment, because that's the issue, right, John?
I don't completely understand your point.
What I'm saying is, I mean, because your issue with Allah not revealing Himself, literally, how you want Him to reveal Himself, is because there's the consequence of the hellfire for the ones who don't accept Him.
Yeah. Well, I would. He could do it in His own way, or God could do it in His own way, and I'm too limited for that. Let's say my example appearing in the sky is, if you created the heavens and the earth, you could create a much more sophisticated way than my let's say appearing in the sky. Appearing in the sky is just an analogy of creating this sort of
no. But Jan,
fact.
what John's trying to explain is the reason why you've got a problem with this with the divine hiddenness issue is because of the consequence that if you don't believe in God, you're going to hell. That's the reason why you've got a problem, isn't it? It's not because it doesn't disprove or prove God's existence. It's rather because you're trying to say, well, to stop people from going to hell, there should be an absolute,
absolutely, I see where you're going. So hell is the concept that's, let's say,
that's the point I was coming to in the beginning, which I didn't actually explain properly because I was actually reading your comments as well before. I don't know if it's your comments or somebody else's comments about the problem of evil, but the point is that's it. It's not understanding the wisdom behind that. Is that correct?
Come again?
Not understanding why there's a hellfire, and why that you believe that Allah has not given you enough evidence, and you don't think it's fair that somebody would be punished.
My premise currently is it's part of the arguments that I have is heaven is hell is a, let's how can I say? I don't have the right words for it, but the allowing so much people to go to hell because people can't agree on the fact that who God is for me a big price that God is paying. Or I don't know how to really describe myself here. My nervousness is kicking in.
Jan, I don't know why you're nervous. Hamza's gone to pray. Seems like he's praying. It seems like he's doing Surah Al-Baqarah in his, mashallah, praying good long salah, isn't he? But so anyway, look, Jan.
Yeah.
Few things, isn't it? Let me try and cut to the chase as best as possible. Maybe I think John and maybe Shadid want to add to it as well. But I just want to look. One, life's a test. Yeah. So the reason why it's not necessarily these are possible answers. The reason why it's not as obvious is because it's a test. It's about whether somebody's going to be sincere. Two, it's soul building. It's a way of building your consciousness and your relationship with God. God doesn't want necessarily you to be just somebody who acknowledges the truth, but wants to submit to it. And maybe this is the best way to develop that idea of submission because he has to test himself, test his ideas, and be sincere to it. Three, that the most number of people that will enter into submission of God are the ones who have to go through this process. So it has to be set up in a particular way in which people have to rigorously test their ideas and come to this conclusion. And maybe that's what God wants. Four, actually, there are sufficient evidences and reasons for the existence of God, which are manifest and are clear cut and are open to every single individual. Five, anybody who does not have correct belief because they are completely ignorant, they're jahil, either because they live in the Amazon rainforest or because they've not heard the message of Islam correctly, then these people, or they've not heard Islam at all, then these people are completely forgiven and they're not going to be punished in hellfire. So there are all these possible answers to your contention. Yeah, I just don't see it as a contention. And remember, Schellenberg didn't argue this based upon is Islam true or not. He was arguing whether God exists or not.
Yeah, exactly.
And so I'm saying it doesn't even it fails in that, and it also fails under the Islamic paradigm, particularly that fifth point, which was to simply say that you don't just Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions he does not punish a town until he sends a messenger in the Quran, which basically indicates that there needs to be some sort of communication of a message before a person is adjudicated to have rejected the message. Now, Imam Ghazali, he mentions in his book Al-Faisal Tafrika, he said that it actually means that it must be clear in a way that he understands the proofs before he is then punished. It's not the case that he is punished just simply hearing it, but rather because it could be distorted, but he has to understand its evidences and proofs and be like that Iblis who knows it, sees it, and still rejects it. That's the point that the Imam Ghazali mentioned. So there's all these different answers to this question that you have.
John, I just want to cut in there a minute, because this is why it didn't make sense to me that you would come with this argument as an ex-Muslim. Like somebody who has no knowledge of Islam, I could kind of understand them coming with this line of argument. But somebody who comes from an Islamic background would know that Islam has answers for these things. Not necessarily that you believe it, but we have good answers for that. So that's what shocked me really, because it made me realize.
Yeah. And John, the point. The point is that these arguments were originally developed by non-Muslims in response to Christians. Because Christian theology of salvation was that you had to accept Jesus as a son of God. You had to believe in God. You didn't have the option of ignorance that we have within Islam. So it's actually in response to them. It's not response to us.
No, exactly. But I'm zooming out more from a theistic point of view. So I'm not. So if I would, I've been digging also into Christianity, like when I was looking at is there something else that's more interesting than Islam? Well, Christianity doesn't. If the most fundamental concept of Christianity is the Trinity, and nowhere in the Bible does Jesus mention
That's not.
that he's
That's
God.
incorrect. That's not the fundamental teaching.
Yeah,
that's not
exactly.
the fundamental teaching of Christianity, mate.
I truly don't understand why people believe in Christianity, but that's a different topic.
No. But that's the fundamentals of Christianity is the death and resurrection of Jesus. That's the fundamental. The idea, original sin, and all that crap.
I mean the original, but not the. But I mean the Trinity itself. Like it's the fundamental doctrine. What the Catholics teach.
We're talking about Christianity.
Yeah,
No,
Jan,
exactly.
Jan. The point being is this. The point being is this. You brought in divine hiddenness as an argument. Divine hiddenness, even from your own point. Even John made the point at the beginning because it doesn't really disprove the existence of God. And you're like, yeah, it doesn't. And then he was like, oh, the whole discussion about hellfire. Well, yeah, that's really problematic. People are going to get punished into hellfire. And then I've just given you 5 reasons. Some of them potential reasons. Some of them are grounded within the Quran as well. That demonstrates that we have good to escape this idea that just people are just punished, or why God doesn't necessarily just say, right, everybody's a robot, you have to believe in him, because there are there are different arguments and different reasons found within Islam. Regards to this, I just don't see, Jan, that you were a person who at 24 thought, divine hiddenness, that's a really good argument against belief in a creator and against belief in Islam. So Jan, is it a case that you're using these arguments to try to understand it better so that maybe you could adhere to the correct ideas, and I don't mean to be offensive, but are you using these arguments because it's like a justification of where you are at?
Yeah. No, it's for me. It's for me not. I'm using this argument because I find it personally. If I look, there are many arguments,
Jan,
that are presented, but
Jan,
I find Go on.
Did you leave Islam because of divine hiddenness? No. Right. Why did you leave Islam?
My first concept why I left Islam, and that's an emotional appeal. Definitely, and that's I just don't believe. I felt at a certain point that if God created, he's all loving, and he created heaven and hell, and actually we are brought into a system where we make mistakes, and I need to go for hell because he made me that way, of performing these actions. So why would I go to hell?
Do you believe hell exists?
Sorry?
You believe hell exists?
I don't think so right now.
So what you're afraid of? I don't know.
Sorry? No, I'm holding an agnostic position. So
let me make it easy for you.
Yeah.
Making it easy for everyone today, man. All right. If you want people, to follow the right path. So how are my children to listen to what I say to them? What are my options?
You mean in terms of which ways they could go, like which belief system they would?
I got daughters. I want them to do something. In what way could I motivate them?
I think it's definitely not atheism, because then you get
no.
free format.
I've got 2 daughters.
Yeah.
Make it more easy, Hamza.
Easier than that.
Give him a 10.
I've got one daughter.
Multiple choice.
I got one daughter.
I'm stupid.
I want my daughter. I want my daughter. 1 second. I want my daughter to tidy her room.
Yeah.
How do I get her to tidy her room?
Tell her.
Sorry?
Tell her how to do it.
Tell her how to do it.
Yeah.
Why should she?
Okay, that's good. That's good. We'll accept that one. Another one. Point. Another way. She's not. She didn't listen to you. Now what?
You're gonna provide rules.
You're gonna pay her £5.
No.
Reward and punishment. How about that?
How about that? Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
That's the way.
Yeah.
See, here's the thing, Jan. Human beings are motivated by only 2 things in this world.
Yeah.
Punishment and reward.
Yeah, that's what we know.
Nothing else. What do I get for doing it? What's going to happen to me if I don't do it?
Yeah.
That's it. All right. So imagine a scenario. God, the creator, Allah, has created these human beings. And he wants them to do as they're told.
Yeah.
How does he motivate them? You give them a punishment as a deterrent to avoid.
Sounds like a solid argument.
Yeah. And you give them a reward so extravagant that they're going to get dragged away from the punishment and run towards the good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing. Going back to my daughter tidying the room analogy. Why am I telling my daughter to tidy the room?
Because you want the best for your daughter.
No, why tidy the room? What's so good about a tidy room?
Hygiene, and it creates good mentality. A good mentality.
Hygienic. Don't get mice, don't get cockroaches or whatever it may be that might come into the room. Yeah.
Don't stand on a piece of Lego.
I'll give you an example. I'll give you a working example, right? So one of the motivations of my daughters to tidy the room right now is this. If they're listening. Right. My daughters are scared to death of spiders and flies. Spiders and flies, scared to death of them.
Yeah.
But houses, you get them. Yeah. So what I said is, look, if you don't tidy your room, don't ask me to come and get flies and spiders out your room. Because you're attracting the flies with your with your crumbs, and the flies are attracting spiders. Right? Now those girls tidy their room. You know why? Because they realize the consequences. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now the beautiful thing is, you see, when Allah creates His creation and He gives them guidance, why does He want them to do what He tells them to do? For what reason?
Yeah.
For whose benefit?
Yeah, fair point. I see where you're going. It's
for whose benefit? Let me go where I'm going then and follow me. Well, whose benefits by following Allah's guidance? Who benefits?
She benefits, and the collective.
No. Forget that. Go back to God now. God tells His creation to do something. Who benefits by doing that thing?
She benefits.
Okay, we're back to God now, telling His creation, to do something. Who benefits from that transaction of doing that thing?
Yeah.
Who benefits? Please stop saying.
I'm sorry.
Stop saying she benefits.
No. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm
sorry. I'm on the rack. Sorry.
We benefit.
Of course, we benefit. Human beings benefit. Because we're being guided, and this goes back to Sharif's thing from earlier, because Islam is the only way of life, the only religion that gives you tangible guidance that benefits you and keeps you safe from all the poisons within society that every other way of life exposes you to.
Yeah.
And so in God's wisdom, in Allah's wisdom, He's give you the greatest punishment to avoid, the greatest reward to attain, and He's done it for the reasons of your own benefit. So you're going to benefit from following the guidance. You're going to benefit for following the guidance. And if you don't follow the guidance, you're going to be punished for not following the guidance by falling into the detriment of what you're being told to avoid. And plus, obviously, there's a hellfire after as well. So the whole point of the hellfire is a deterrent. Now, if you believe in hellfire, get away from it, bro.
Yeah. No, it sounds very. I think it's solid. The argument is very solid. If you want to motivate people, you should. Let's say
just come back, mate. Just come back. It's not too late.
No, it isn't.
Well, I've never said. I've never pushed it back. Well, it has always been part of my life. So I've never.
Jan. Just be honest with yourself. Honest with the Creator. I mean, if you did come from a Muslim background, which I do believe you when you say that, the reasons doubts come is because of lack of iman, and lack of iman comes through lack of knowledge of Islam. And a lot of the time when people are born into the fold of Islam, was your family Muslim, Jan?
Yeah, my family was.
So a lot of people, when they're born into Muslim families, when they get to the age of 20, 21, 22, 23, etc., they're living life. This is the time when people are falling off the bandwagon, if you like. They're looking into, enjoying life, doing different things, and they get detached from the religion. not really taking it seriously. And it's a common thing. And this is one reason why people drift away and their iman becomes low. And it is a kind of punishment from Allah when people forget Allah. They drift away from Islam. The iman is taken away, but it's not too late. It just requires you to take Islam seriously and start asking questions, searching what the Islamic perspective of these things are. And when you, you didn't bring anything today that we've not managed to kind of answer, because the Islamic perspective and what we've said is very basic, actually. Like, a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old child with a basic grounding in Islamic Aqidah would be able to give you these answers. We're not scholars, and that's why I was saying from the very beginning, how would you answer these questions? Because as an ex-Muslim, you should know these answers. And for me, it's that you've not put enough work into Islam. I don't know what the reason is. I don't know whether it's whether you were not given the correct Islamic knowledge from being a young age, or maybe the environment, or maybe the friends, whatever it may be. Maybe you got distracted in university or college or with work, with the dunya, chasing money, chasing women. I don't know what the reason is, but it's obvious that you've not put enough effort in. Because with a little bit of research, you would have the answers to these things. And I'll tell you, John, I wasn't a Muslim. I accepted Islam at 23, right? You left Islam at 24. I accepted Islam at 23. I'd had that time of being misguided, enjoying life, doing what I want to do. But ultimately, it doesn't make you happy. And I know that you're not happy being in this situation. That's why you're spending your Friday night here with us, because you're looking for some meaning and truth. And if you are sincere, you need to just really, take the step, come back to Islam and submit to Allah. You won't have all the answers, not, straight away, but you have to submit. You have to hold your hands up and submit to Allah.
It's true that it's a search for meaning, and you always have, even if you go into let's say believing in nothing, you always have this gap of so what will happen after I die? So it's a gamble.
Would you like to add something? Shadid.
What do I have to add? Well, just on that first, the first part of the discussion, just to say that, like if God just showed himself, as you were saying, then that would defeat the purpose, right? That would just make everything so easy. He sent messengers, he sent prophets, revelations, so he gives you all these other things. So I think that's just part of life, that you have to strive toward things, right? Life is part of striving towards things, even if you don't see it at first. So I think in God's wisdom, that he's giving you other signs of God's existence, rather than just having to make it easy by showing himself like that. So I just wanted to say like that's just part of life. Life is part of striving towards things that you don't at first see. When it comes to earning a living, right? You get paid at the end of the week, not the beginning, right? You gotta, everything is about striving towards it. So that's just part of God's.
That's true.
Very good point. So what you're asking for, Jan? You're asking for sit down for an exam, and they bring you the answers.
But that's why I'm here. I'm bringing.
No. What I mean is, what you're doing is you want to sit an exam, and you want someone to give you the answers, so you don't have to work for the result.
Yeah. That's
everyone gets an A.
That's how you can see it.
Is there any value in an A if everyone gets an A?
Well, what it means, Jan, is this life is the test. That's the analogy.
Yeah.
This life
is the
test.
So the idea that God should just appear in a way which compels belief. That's the point. Is they're saying that this is soul building. This is what builds you. Yeah. Makes you sincere, purifies you, because you go through these types of, you have to humble yourself when it comes to the issue of knowledge and your belief and things like this. But I just wanted to just clarify one thing that I mentioned actually earlier, just to the guys who are watching this. There are differences of opinion about a person who's ignorant of Islam. So one opinion says, yeah, he's forgiven. Another opinion also says that he'll be tested on the Day of Judgment, that he will be shown, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reveal himself. He will say, am I your Lord? They will affirm. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will command them to go into the fire. And those who go into the fire will be saved. Yeah, because it's a test. So there are various opinions in regards to this. But the fundamental opinion is this, is that you are not going to be punished until you have been given some sort of message. And what level that message is, there's ikhtilaf. But, in my opinion, it's a case that it is clear, that the person understands the evidences and the proofs. And then if a person rejects it, he rejects it out of arrogance and pride, and not just simply because he just didn't know a certain thing. So that gets away from the problem of the divine hiddenness argument. I think, Jan, look, you left Islam because of emotional reasons. You left Islam because you had this problem regards to, why is there hellfire? And it pains me when I hear these types of arguments. Yeah, obviously you make your own choices. Yeah, but it pains me when I hear these arguments of, well, if God exists, we would see X. Therefore, if we don't see X, God doesn't exist. And it's like, bro, man, you're a limited, finite, dependent creature. How are you going to know and look at things from the perspective of an unlimited, independent creator? Don't think that. Yeah, exactly. We cannot. Yeah. So even this. So I have to humble myself. I have to say, okay, what do I know? What can I see around me? So I can't say, okay, why would God create a hellfire? This and alhamdulillah, Hamza has made some really good points about, the drives in human beings of reward and punishment, and that sometimes a punishment is actually self-betterment for an individual. It's not something that's. It's not, and like you said, it's a very solid argument. So I'm just saying is there are answers to these, or there are ways of answering these points, but ultimately, we as human beings, we stop, we look around us, and we come to a conclusion. We go from the bottom up, from human level, to conclude about guidance, rather than let's try to put ourselves in the mind of God and then try to work out how things should look like if I was God. No, that's just not rational in my view. Yeah, it's not, logical to approach things in that way. And I think, Jan, you're moving towards that point as well, I think. Yeah. And one final point as well, sorry, I don't mean to go on, but one final point I want to really mention is human beings desire purpose and meaning. I mentioned this to a previous caller that came on here.
That's true.
Desire purpose and meaning. It's like human condition. Yeah. Atheism and even agnosticism gives you nothing. Gives you no purpose, no meaning.
That's true.
Why would I, if I understand that human civilization, human societies, human beings, humanity as a large, their condition is to seek purpose, real purpose, not imaginary play ideas, or I think today my purpose is eat ice cream. No, real purpose that is a real proposition that is true. If I really want to move, why would I move from believing this exists to meaning that doesn't exist, is purposeless? It contradicts the whole, human condition, the fitra, the innate nature of a human being. It's like, for example, if I have a car and I need fuel in my car and I'm putting petrol in my car, and somebody comes up to me and says, bro, man, you shouldn't put petrol in your car. And I'm like saying, yeah, but I need my car to move. I need fuel in my car. This is why I put petrol in my car. He goes, no. I said to him, what's the alternative? He doesn't give me any alternative. I'll be like, no, I'm going to continue putting petrol in my car. Yeah. Because the point being is that I need to function as a human being. I need to function as, my car needs to function. And this is what gives it function. And then on top of that, you've got all these arguments against Islam, which are spurious. They're just not rational. They're based upon emotions, and these emotions are shaped by the environment we live in. Let's be quite frank. We live in a Western society, Western civilization, or Western type centric societies have a particular notion about, you know, individualism. It's all about me, myself, and I. It's all about, you know, God should be serving my interest because I'm so self-centered and I'm the most important thing in the universe. This is the mentality that we create, you know, within the West. And so then you create these very, you know, these people who become very emotive in this idea of, well, what, I need to submit to God. Yeah, and if I don't, I'll get punished. Oh, well, how can that be the case? Yeah, or why is my life not perfect? If God exists, surely my life would be perfect, and I won't face any problems or suffering. You're just very self-centered. So you see this actually exists within this very much self-centered, individualistic culture that exists within Western liberal secular societies and capitalist societies that we see. So
that's the
let's
problem
move
also
away
of these
from
societies these days. It's the individualism, and
it's rampant.
there's
But
not there yeah
yeah,
there's not the we, there's not the community thinking,
yeah,
which is
but
like everybody lives in a silo, and
but
everybody takes care. Yeah, go on.
it creates this idea that the most important person is me, that everything
Yeah,
should serve me. You know, my wife's a teacher, and she said that school children now are a lot harder to teach than in the past, because one of the things is that, you know, if you tell them off, the parents come in and say, well, why are you telling my kid off for not doing the homework? You know, or you should be, you know, it's very self-centered. What's that? Sorry, Hamza?
yeah.
SubhanAllah, I'm
What's
just
that,
listening
Hamza?
How was it, John? I saw Hamza's
You
movement,
fell for
and
it.
I just heard, bro, man, I'm just with two, mashallah, brothers with very similar facial features.
All white people look the same. Come
Facial
on.
That's
features.
right, man. I didn't want to say it.
Yeah, the beard.
It's the beard. It's
Yeah,
just the
Oh,
hat. You just need the hat, and then it's
Yeah.
but
clear cut.
my point, Jan, was this: is that the issue is these ideas that people, these contentions people have about God are not universal rational contentions. They seem to be coming because people are developed in an ideological environment that makes them think in a particular way or feel in a particular way. And because they have these particular emotions, when they come across religions or, you know, Islam in particular,
Yeah,
that says there is things called, you are meant to humble yourself before God, not walk in arrogance and pride. And if you don't, you are going to get punished. Yeah, but if you do
well,
humble yourself, you're going to get great reward. And this is about for your benefit, not for, you know, God's benefit. Yeah, and then, you know, I think, you know, that the idea is seems as an anathema to people that live in the West, because, you know, they think it's to be the other way around, that God should serve them, they shouldn't serve God. So, Jan, take away your emotions, look at Islam afresh, look at it, you know, just from a rational perspective,
yeah,
understand that there are clear arguments for belief in a creator and belief that the Quran and the prophethood of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is from the creator. And I think if you look at it from
Just
that
submit.
perspective, the fact that it gives you purpose, the fact that it gives you meaning, the fact that, you know, the fact what you have lost because of leaving Islam, all of these things, you know, I think,
yeah.
you know, inshallah,
Just
you'd come back
accept
to Islam.
Islam, Jan. Jan, I don't know why you don't
Yeah.
just accept Islam and become Muslim again today. Submit.
Yeah.
Why
But
don't you submit now? Acknowledge Allah is the creator. Acknowledge Islam. He deserves to be worshipped.
your arguments are good, and I'm being pulled into, let's say, I'm feeling that, well, I've experienced Islam, so it's
Can I tell you, Jan? You know what
yeah,
you're feeling? You
yeah,
might be feeling Iman because you're spending time with brothers, you're spending time with Muslims, you're learning, you're seeking knowledge. This is what increases your Iman when you learn about Islam, not when you're
yeah,
searching into these other things. Come and learn about Islam. Spend time and have good brotherhood. This is what
yeah,
increases Iman and yaqeen in the religion.
yeah. I should.
Let's do
Well,
it then, man.
I've heard a lot of good arguments, and well, I've never approached it from an arrogant point of view. Well, that like well, what I feel, you know, I still believe in. I've always, let's say, the door to God was always open for me. So it was like, is he there or not? It was like, for me, it was going out and was like, where is the proof? I want the, but as Sharif mentioned, is maybe the let's say the Western life put you away and the individualistic thinking brought all these complexities is what pulled me away. And this is also the reason why I come here is to sincerely bring some arguments that I have in my mind and to challenge them. That was the whole point of this conversation for me. So I came here not to win or to.
But all your arguments have been refuted, so you've got no more excuses.
Yeah.
So what are you waiting for?
Submit. Come back into the fold of Islam.
Yeah.
Take your Shahada, man.
I'm feeling like being put on the spot.
You are being put on the spot.
You are.
I've been put on
because,
the
spot. Bro, Jan, listen. You are being put on the spot because hellfire is real. It's not a joke. It's serious, bro. Take it seriously.
I'm taking it.
It's not a piece of Lego. It's real, bro.
It's not.
When you pass away, it's not a joke. You don't have. There's no excuse. Once the soul has left the body, it's finished. There's no going back.
Jan, unless you've got a compelling argument against why you shouldn't be Muslim, and you're hearing arguments and you're saying, yeah, they sound strong and they sound solid and all these types of things, you should be following what you think sounds solid and strong. Unless you've got a compelling argument against it, and you don't seem to have a compelling argument against it because you would have raised it.
Yeah,
that's the issue. So I know there's hesitancy in your heart because you might feel, oh, what am I going to do? This, that, and the other. But you're an agnostic. Yeah, you're a stroke atheist or agnostic. You're in a position where you don't have purpose and meaning. You're not losing anything. That's the point. I'm just trying to say you're going to gain something. I can understand that maybe somebody who's never been Muslim, who's maybe from a different faith, you think, oh, I've got to make sure that I'm making the right choice, this, that, and the other. But you're going from no belief, no belief in a particular religion, to having belief, from no purpose to having purpose, from this position where you don't believe there's a hellfire and therefore there's no consequence, to believing that there is consequence, there's reward. There's the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's actual salvation. Yeah, there's meaning and purpose in that. And also, obviously, a warning of punishment as well. So the point being is that you're literally not losing anything. You're actually only going to gain something. If the concern is the environment that you're around, maybe some people that you're around that might not like you being Muslim, then that's a separate point. Yeah. But even then,
you don't have to tell them. You don't have to tell them.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell them.
Yeah.
It's
But are his parents Muslim?
But he might have other people around him that are not Muslim.
Are you married?
No.
Okay.
Is part of the reason why you're not married because you're not Muslim? Your parents couldn't find you somebody. I'm just saying that because then that's another reason to be. No, I'm just not joking. It's not another reason to become Muslim.
No, for me, it's been work. I've been working in engineering for a very long time, and let's say my work life is very stressful, and that let's say brought me off everything. Yeah. It brought me off from focusing on religion or on thinking about this concept at all. So,
oh, bro, man, why would you sacrifice your religion for work and for work colleagues that probably don't care that much about you? Yeah, okay, there might be nice people,
especially
or a company, that honestly does not care about you. Yeah, you're just a cog in the wheel. Why? It makes no sense. I'm telling you, you're going from look. If you were never
Yeah.
a Muslim, I wouldn't be pushing you on this, yeah. And I don't think
Yeah.
the brothers would be. But they know that
Yeah.
you've been a Muslim. They know that you're talking about how Islam, the brothers, what they've answered here is, solid, reasoned arguments. You're not providing anything to push back upon, yeah. And then
No.
you're telling to me about how work has made you lose focus in your religion and pushed you away. And
I'm
it's
just being
like,
open
no,
about
no,
that.
I'm not.
No, it's
Well,
good.
and Jan, I'm
Yeah.
not cussing you down for it. I'm just trying to make
Yeah.
you realize what, you're not losing anything to
Jan,
becoming a Muslim. You're gaining
Jan, you left Islam at a very young age. I know, because that's the time I accepted Islam. And seriously, I don't think you've tasted Islam. I don't think you've tasted the real Iman.
Yeah.
When you come into the fold of Islam and you start really taking it seriously, giving Islam the time it needs to understand it and, build your Iman. Seriously, Jan, it's amazing. And I wasn't this like reject with no friends. I was very popular as a non-Muslim.
What was you doing at the time as a job?
I was a jazz singer. I was singing on the cruise ship, singing in United's football stadium, and singing in Ronnie Scott's jazz club, and all this, enjoying life, lots of money, and everything else that comes with it. It wasn't. It was easy to let that go because I was convinced on the truth of Islam. But at the same time, subhanAllah, the feeling you get with Islam, the truthfulness of it, you can't compare it to anything. And as Sharif was mentioning, you can't let these worldly things, and I did mention that whether it's a job or work or study, which come in the way of that precious time of staying in the fold of Islam. And we do get busy. We all get, even as Muslims, we get busy trying to make the money to pay the bills. We know that. But we do have to sacrifice. That's why Allah orders us for the 5 daily prayers. That whatever happens, we get busy in life, but then 5 daily prayers, we have to take that time out to remember our purpose of life, to come back, submit to Allah, praise Allah, ask Allah, worship Allah, and remind ourselves why are we here. That's what the 5 daily prayers is. 5 times a day, coming back to the purpose of life, reminding us. Because if we don't do that, we can go a month, 2 months, year, 10 years go by without giving any time to Islam, any time to the Creator. And that's why, if you don't submit to Allah, that's why there is eternal hellfire, because that's how important Allah is. That's how serious the crime is of rejecting and not worshipping and submitting to Allah. So it needs that time. It needs that time, and it starts with the Shahada and submitting to the 5 daily prayers. Everything else comes after. And anyone who does that and gets their 5 daily prayers on time, their life just comes into place. SubhanAllah, you see barakah in your time, you see barakah in your money, your life, everything comes easy. I'm not saying it's all easy. There's still tests. It's still difficult. But SubhanAllah, people think, how I don't have time to pray Salah. SubhanAllah, when you pray Salah, you get more barakah in your time. You get more. You seeking knowledge becomes easier because there's barakah in it.
I've experienced that also.
Well,
when
accept it.
Muslim. So that's the reason why it always pulled me back into to talk with brothers. I tried to come. I think a week ago when there was Hamza's, then I was trying to come on online, but I think you had other speakers or other guests.
It's Hamza's fault. He didn't let you on.
Yeah, he didn't let me in, so it's his fault.
But you're here now. You're here now.
For that.
But you're here now.
Alhamdulillah,
Jan. I hear.
Submit, Jan.
Jan. Nothing will satisfy your mind and soul that Islam, the way Islam does. Nothing will give you peace of mind. Nothing will satisfy your mind. Nothing will satisfy your soul like Islam does. Nothing. You're choosing nothingness over the truth, man. And look, Shadid, you're a revert, right. Yeah? Shadid, you're a revert, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, I'm a revert. Yes.
How long, mashallah?
Oh wow, man, it's been over 30 years now.
30 years. SubhanAllah. John, how long have you been Muslim?
13, 14 years, something like that.
13, 14 years, mashallah. Me, I've been a Muslim about 20 years now. Alhamdulillah. Now, the thing is, Jan, look at this. You're on a show with 3 brothers here who all did the opposite move to you. Yeah. We were living in the West. We were living in this dunya lifestyle. Yeah? Chasing this, chasing that, doing this, doing that, doing as you feel. No hellfire, no accountability. And all of us, mashallah, we changed our lives. And all of us improved and benefited our lives from Islam. Yeah? Now, the thing you need to ask yourself, Jan, at this point in time, do any one of us look crazy or stupid or easily fooled?
No, definitely not. This is why I also got on.
Not even one.
No.
Yeah, not even that guy at the end.
No, not even that.
So the point is this. Why would we choose this religion that of restricting our daily lives and things that we used to do, we enjoy, we can't do no more? Why would we do this?
No.
It's a sign for you, bro. It's a sign for you.
Sign. It is a sign for me.
What are you doing? You were born into this beautiful deen.
Yeah.
And you left it.
Yeah.
Why? For nothing. You didn't even leave it for anything. You didn't even get conned by the Christians with a cup of tea and a slice of cake and all that. You didn't get. You left for nothing. You left for absolutely nothing.
Well, let's say the sales pitch of Christians is if I would go into Christianity, I think it would be even worse, because I think being an atheist is better than believing in the Trinity, I think. But I'm feeling it.
Jan, just take your Shahada, man, and let's get on.
Take your Shahada and submit to Allah.
Okay.
And
start your life.
Take my Shahada. I'm going to do it.
Alhamdulillah. All right. You know how to say it, isn't it?
Yeah, I know how to say it.
Just do it.
Go for it. Go for it. Do it.
أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا رسول الله.
Allahu Akbar.
MashaAllah.
Takbir.
How do you feel, bro?
Takbir.
Alhamdulillah.
Freed from this thinking, this overthinking everything.
Subhanallah.
Alhamdulillah.
Jan, do you have good brothers around you? Any Muslims, a Muslim community? I know obviously your family are Muslim, but
yeah, I have some good brothers around me. I just cut off with them, but they were always open with me. I'm living between Amsterdam and London, and Amsterdam I have quite a big community there, but I'm.
So my recommendation.
You said between Amsterdam and London?
Yeah.
Which part of London?
In Kensington.
Kensington, West London.
Yeah.
That's not far from you, Hamza.
We have to have I'm in East London, but we have to have a cup of tea, mate, sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Let us know when you're in London next, and we'll hook up.
Yeah.
I promise you, we'll hook up. We'll go to Central Mosque together, and we'll have a nice scran and whatever. Yeah.
A scran is food, by the way.
I'm speaking Mank, you see, because I got a Mank here, so I thought I would scran. But we'll have a nice munch. We'll have some nice food, yeah, inshallah.
Yeah, I don't know how to.
Do me one favor. Call your mum and tell her the good news.
Yeah, I will.
Please.
Definitely. That was
you must have broke her heart when you went the way you did.
Yeah.
Go tell her the good news, bro.
I'm
gonna tell her, and I'm right now in Amsterdam, and I'm gonna visit some brothers also to tell them the news, because
Alhamdulillah, bro.
Stay with the brothers and keep good company.
Stay with the brothers. Stay with the Jamaat, bro.
Good company. Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. I think
and the Salah, you know that.
Right, listen, email me on hamzasden4@gmail.com, yeah?
Let me write that down.
hamzasden4
hamzasden4
at gmail.com. And like I said, next time you're in London, we'll hook up.
MashaAllah.
Okay.
I might be in London in a couple of weeks as well, so if we'll see, inshallah. Hamza, keep updated.
Inshallah. All right, I appreciate everything, brothers, and it was let's say it was a ride. It was a ride
Hamza.
since.
Alhamdulillah.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure.
Soul building, inshallah.
Yeah.
It'll build you,
Alhamdulillah.
inshallah.
The inspiration you give people watching as well now, mashallah.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jan.
I would recommend it because it was empty
Jan?
life. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
No, it was. Yeah. Hamza.
I just want to say one thing, right? So we agree you left Islam for emotional reasons, but now you've come back to Islam through intellectual justification, yeah?
Yeah.
And that's
I'd
what
say
you
that.
need to lock in. No matter how
Yeah,
you're
it wasn't-
feeling, the haq is haq.
Yeah.
The truth is truth. Reality is reality.
The truth is the truth. That's
That's it.
absolutely it.
And
Yeah.
the truth shall set you free. All right, bro, I'm going to let you go. Take care, Jan. Assalamu alaikum.
Okay. Take care.
Waalaikumsalam.
Assalam.
Inshallah.